guys. Thank you so much for coming on Let Me Talk podcast today. I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks for having us, Zoe.
We met through your screening of your short film. So excited to kind of talk about your journey, but we start off with a rapid fire on the podcast, just to get to know the guests, a little bit of fun. It's quite easy, but the first question is, who's your favorite entertainer or actor, inspiration in the entertainment industry?
That's an excellent
Just not
question.
expecting that question.
Good question. I think we can both say we're big Christopher Nolan fans as directors. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, nice.
But then in the entertainment space, is this specifically like actors or is
Or
it all the
anyone
above?
really, all of the above, pretty
Oh,
much.
such a tough
I
one
reckon
as
Michael
well.
Jackson, for me, he's just,
Actually, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
he was awesome. And I watched the movie recently, although maybe they brushed over a lot of things. It was
Purely
it was
music.
Yeah.
Purely music.
like a torture.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's a second part coming out, which I'm excited for. I don't know when it will be
Yeah.
out, but they had
Well, it was 3 hours into it, and then they just stopped it at the concert. Oh, sorry, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no spoilers for anyone.
Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was. I agree.
I know. I was like,
I
I
agree.
really enjoyed it though. I love biopics and stuff, so I really enjoyed that. I think his nephew was a perfect fit
Yeah,
to play him.
insane, especially the dancing sequences and stuff. So, yeah.
I
No.
don't know if we'd ever do a music movie, but if it was, that would have been a great one to be a part of. I reckon.
For sure, for sure. And the next one is, what do you prefer to watch, film or TV?
Film, easy.
Film.
I would say film,
Yeah.
but I won't lie. I reckon a TV series does something different to your psyche because if you really get into one, that can affect you for a few days. That's all you think about. Whereas movies
100%.
it can have that effect, but I think that movies it's more short-lived because it's just a shorter format. But we're both movie guys.
Well, I actually had this thing. I
Yeah.
was just thinking about this now, but I had this thing when I was younger, when I used to watch films, I'd be really distraught after watching a film that I like to disappear into.
Yeah.
Because you just love the world and you love the characters, and then it just ends, and you don't. But TV shows, they go on forever. Like Game of Thrones was 8 series, and you
Yeah.
kind of just get to enjoy that for a long period of time. Whereas movies, sometimes when you really enjoy the movie, when it ends, it's what I do now.
Yeah, that's it. You've got nowhere to go. But the TV show, you can constantly kind of grow with the characters and
Yeah,
be
that is
more involved in the world. I feel like I love TV personally, and I think it's upped its game. There's so much more intricacies now with TV. It's not not just your standard how it used to be. It's they're really going outside of the box with TV now.
But I feel like so much more can go wrong with TV as well. Because they'll just chuck on one extra season and then the rest of the
And
work
that's
is
it.
just all I'll never watch that again now because of how it ended. Because
Yeah,
I watched
yeah.
The Boys recently and I
Oh
was really
yeah.
disappointed with the ending.
Oh
And
really?
now I can't come back to The Boys.
That
I agree with
sucks.
that.
I know. I can't remember what I watched recently, but I just did the finale just didn't hit it, and I was like, oh God, can't rewatch
Yeah.
that. I don't
I
But I
know.
love
love
that
it.
show though, still.
yeah.
Yeah.
Invincible's another one too.
But
Well,
it's so
yeah.
hard to
Oh.
please people. Hey, it's so hard to make a perfect finale.
I watched
It
Off
is.
Campus recently. Actually, that was a bit weird. bit of an odd one.
I love Off Campus, but
It was
I feel
not
like
bad. It was
it's just one of those
Alright.
teen, those good feel TV shows. But I get the hype. I guess I feel like people are missing out on
That's
just the
fun.
normal,
Definitely fun. You don't have to watch everything too seriously.
yeah,
You can just
exactly.
enjoy it for what it is too.
It's also really hard to stick the landing, you know what I mean? I mean, we can
Mm.
appreciate that. It's pretty hard to, make something that is fully cohesive and not everyone's going to like something. And that's why it's kind of interesting to see different opinions.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's such a subjective industry. So whatever you make, someone might not like, and then another person might just be fully obsessed with. So
Well,
It's hard to-
I'd rather have some people not liking our films because it just means that they're actually there's more people watching and they're actually picking it apart, which means they care. So I prefer that.
exactly, they're giving you the engagement that you want.
Exactly. I kind of like that.
All publicity is good publicity.
Watch Call to sound up. It's
Love it, love it. And the next one is, what do you prefer to watch, a blockbuster or an indie film?
Blockbuster for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, indie films are great. They have their place, but like the hype around a blockbuster and the scale of a blockbuster, like that's my dream. I would
Yeah.
love to make a blockbuster one day.
I
Do you
think
go
it's
to
that
the
idea.
Do you go to the movies much, or like is that like your vibe, like going to the movies and watching the blockbuster, or
Pretty much everyone.
Well, we've got
Yeah.
IMAX tickets to the Odyssey, so we're really excited for that. That's
Fingers
it.
crossed.
love it, love it.
But,
See,
yeah.
I'm a bit of both too. I feel like it depends on the blockbuster, but then I love a good like indie where you just find it out of nowhere and it's like really good.
I'm less likely to watch an indie film like at the cinemas.
You can't say
Yeah.
that. We're making
It's true. It's true. But in reality, it's harder because you never hear about it, and so
Yeah, that's
um.
true.
But when you do stumble across a good indie film, you're like, wow, it's pretty crazy.
Do you know what it is as well? Like you get like cover fatigue. Like I feel like that when I'm picking something on Netflix. Like even when you look at the cinemas and you see all these different covers, it's like what appeals to you most. Like it's like when you pick a book. I always found it hard to find like a book I wanted to read, but then when I finally sat down and read it, I actually loved probably the book I chose.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, for sure. And the last one is, when are you guys most inspired?
When or what or
Like when are you most inspired?
Probably when I'm like really tired. Weirdly, I don't know. Like late at night
yeah.
after like the whole day's over, it's like everything's sort of quiet and you just start just making stuff up. I don't know. I feel like for me that's what works.
I would say that music's probably the most inspiring thing. I find that like music's pretty transformative in where it can take you, at least creatively. So when I'm listening to something, I don't know if anyone experiences this as well, but like I almost put together like a story, especially if it's orchestral, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking about what's actually happening or what emotions are being evoked. So especially when like we're writing, we like to listen to music. We like to let that inform the writing a little bit.
Our problem is though when we're writing something funny, then we have some sad music on by accident, and then it starts becoming a really sad story. And we're like, well, just
Yeah, we'll have to turn that off then.
I love it. I love it. But you know what? Music informs so many of our decisions as well, and like helps build stories. Like when you're writing, it's such a helpful tool. I think that's why it's so important when we hear like different songs or like things like that in films or TV, because it leaves an effect on us. Like I'm always remembering the song that's attached to like a scene in TV or film. Like it's always like the number one thing that like comes in my mind whenever I'm thinking or being reminded of a film.
Bro,
The
I went
soundtrack.
and watched Hans Zimmer live actually this year, last year. I saw Hans Zimmer at like Rod Laver. I thought that was so many different movies that he's done, but you remember scenes and like especially The Lion King. Like that one for some reason gets me every time.
I feel like everyone's on the same page with that. That's just
Yeah.
like such
so-
an
you can't not
emotional
like The Lion King.
pivot. Insane. Well, talk to me about like your guys' journey before film, because obviously when we met, you spoke about not being in the industry at all. What were you doing prior to film, and are you still like in that industry as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're both business graduates. We both went to the same school, so we grew up together. And me personally, I used to make YouTube videos when I was really, really young. And Zach and I even made a few videos together. And I know Zach was always interested in film and making videos. So I think that there was just a bit of a hiatus where we thought it was unrealistic to do anything otherwise. So at a certain point, I guess 2 years ago, when we decided to make Cooked, we just came to the realization that, life's too short to, worry about responsibilities, beyond, like we're still young. So why not just try something out, So we got to that point where we were ready to write a script and just see where we went with it. And, 24 months later, we're here now. So we're pretty excited about it.
Well, I think like film's one of those ones where, I grew up sort of with my cousins making little mini films and like I remember sort of just gravitating to that sort of role where you start trying to pick apart and direct people, and like I just really enjoyed it. I know Brant's the same. And yeah, you get to a point where it seems like such a hard thing to do, so you obviously don't do it. But now with all the digital cameras and everything available, where it's like you can actually buy a really good camera for a really good price now, but and so we were able to do that without getting those $100,000 cameras, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and you can do actually really good stuff on your iPhone. Like that's what people don't get. It's like you can literally do really good stuff on like the latest iPhone, whatever it is, to start with. Like your stuff doesn't have to be huge to start with. It can be like very small, and you just never know like where things can pan out. But what I guess what apart from like maybe like the instability, what else kind of stopped you from getting into film straight away and like going down a different path?
I think for me, um, I mean, like my family sort of went down that business route as well. So
Mm.
that's probably all I knew and felt safe in. I mean, you said instability, but like I
Yeah.
felt like that was sort of a more secure path to go down in terms of, career opportunities. But then, I went to the finance industry and um, we were doing the film at the same time. And it's sort of like all my like passion and energy wanted to go towards the film. So I sort of
Yeah.
went away from that for a bit and just put it into the film with Brant as well.
Yeah, I feel like for me, there was a point in time in my life where I was pretty certain I wanted to be a director. And then I
Mm.
think I hit around year 8, year 9, and that just started becoming something that didn't seem realistic. And I was a bit more motivated by things that I could like, immediately control, getting, good score and going to a good uni and, getting real, getting a job.
Yeah.
And as much as, that stuff's all important, I think that I didn't consider the fact that you can do both, you
Yeah.
can still pursue the stuff that you really like. And I think I lost a little bit of passion for filmmaking early days, just because there is a bit of stigma around putting yourself out there and trying to make something that's unique. It's you being vulnerable and letting people essentially criticize your work. So there's a little bit of that, and when
Mm.
you're younger, you maybe care about that. But as we got older, I think Zach and I both had the mentality of like, we don't care if we make something that everyone hates. We just want to make something that we think is good. And I don't think at any point in our entire career as directors have we pandered to an audience.
Mm.
Everything that we make is because we think it's good, because we think it would be entertaining, and I think we're going to continue to take that going forward as well.
That was actually a really good point. It's
Mm.
like we often talk about like, oh, like if we only did this a couple of years ago and if we did this or that. But like
Yeah.
I think we're at a better point in our minds, like mentally and like maturity as well, that we can handle the criticism and we sort of, you sort of go through enough things at this point when you just want to like make it happen. So I feel like maybe it's the right time for us to branch out into doing it anyway. So
Yeah, and I feel like timeline's such a like, hard thing because it's like this everyone's on their own timeline, their own journey. Like it might feel like you guys have come into it at a later time, but it was probably the perfect time for you to come into it because you've had all this like life experience and you can bring more stories like ease in an easier way. Like you're not thinking about certain stories to come up with because you have so much life experience that it helps you write. I don't know if that's like
no, it's true. Yeah.
assuming, but like I would assume that because you've had like so much more experience outside of the industry, you have heaps of stories to tell.
Well, we could have gone to film school. I mean, that was the
Mm.
other alternative. And if we did that, we would have been pushed into a sort of lane that the
Yeah.
whatever school had in mind for us, and we wouldn't have lived the lives that we've lived. And I don't think we would have made something as ambitious as Corked, because the only reason why we did it was because we were naive enough to think we could.
Mm.
And so I think that lack of experience in some ways was really helpful, and experience in, life experience ended up informing more of the stuff that we, did in our film anyway. And I also think that our backgrounds, at least the way in our process in, filmmaking going forward, especially with this next project, is
Mm.
we are using our business backgrounds. We're trying to be as savvy as we can. And, we're dealing with managing a team and, all those things. And I think it's all invaluable skills. So,
Mm.
yeah, we may be taking a different approach to most people in the industry.
Yeah, I think though, talking about Corked, how did that come about? Like, whose idea was it? Like the concept of Cork, was it both, or did someone come in with the idea and then kind of feed off each other and build the script that way?
Well, I think the way Brett and I work, we sort of telepathic in a strange way. It's really odd, but like we sort of bounce off each other's ideas. I mean, like it originally started as a 10-part Game of Thrones like series, and then it really sort of came down. We decided we want to make a short, and then we like to put sprinkle a little bit of comedy into our works. But the first edition of it was just a really funny film, and toned it down. And we loved the element of someone being in a room where they maybe weren't supposed to be, and there's power dynamics and a lot of different things happening at play. Like The Godfather, for example, was one of our inspirations. Obviously, not to sound cliche, but yeah. Brent and I just bounced off each other, and I wouldn't say it was anyone's like singular idea, but yeah.
I think it's because it evolved so much.
Yeah,
right? Like I don't think that Zach and I came into it with a clear idea as to what we wanted it to be. And in all honesty, because it was our first time writing a script, half the time we're just like working out how do you even do this? Like how do you put together a script that makes sense? So from writing like the first idea to actually understanding how to write, and then actually, formulating an idea that was interconnected and made sense on a narrative level. It took us, the better part of 6 months or so to probably get the script off the ground. Yeah. And that, the first draft compared to the 8th or 9th draft was just a completely different film. There's not even the same atmosphere.
Honestly, that always happens. Yeah, like it always happens. Like you're never gonna, from the first draft is the vomit draft. Like that's just never gonna see the light and day. Like maybe if you're like some well-known director, maybe the first draft's like your best draft. But for us, like it's like you've got to go through the heart or give the first draft to someone and have them give you feedback, cop the embarrassment, whatever it is, and then just go back to the drawing board and back and forth. But you obviously haven't gone to film school, so was your resource just the internet and learning from the internet how to break down the script, or do you guys still have people that are part of the film community that you knew prior?
I think it was a mix of both, right? Like I think we definitely use online materials, which I think everyone should be doing anyway, regardless of whether or not. There's so much out there. There's so many things you can learn from like either really professional people or just people who teach and understand things. But also then, you meet people along the way. Like we met, Nick Kazakis as well, part of the Greek film community. And, a bunch of other people, even actors who you learn from as well. And you sort of learn your process. But I also think that it was really important for us to try and create our own processes too. Like you should take different things you learn, but then ultimately, there's no one formula to film. Like you can find a way that works for you, and it just happened that sort of the things that we ended up doing, other people were doing too, and there were some things we did different. And I think for us, that's maybe what worked best.
I also think, just jumping off of that, I think that we had some advice at one point from someone who was basically trying to break down script writing for us and letting us know that there are, X amount of avenues, there are X amount of stories that can realistically be told, and there's so much overlap. So essentially you're just making a version of someone else's thing. And there might be a little bit of truth in that, but I would prefer not to go in with that mentality. And I think that Zach and I were both very clear that we'd rather find our own path and just see where we land. And if there's any ounce of originality that comes from that, then that's come from the fact that we haven't tried to use a direct inspiration, a direct narrative thread based off of some sort of template that would have been potentially learnt. So Corked is just like an amalgamation of all of our life experiences and all the films that we like, all together, mixed with a bit of trial and error script writing and some budget filmmaking.
And it's not perfect, we know that for sure, and we've learned lots on the way, and the next film won't be perfect. I think just creatives never feel that they like their own work anyway, but it's just how it is.
But that's the thing though, you always learn what not to take on to the next project and what to keep. You're never not learning. Everyone's short film is never the perfect scenario because you're learning. You're just kind of stumbling into it and working out what works and what doesn't. But for the audience, can you tell people what Corked is about?
Yes.
So they don't think we're talking what and then don't know.
Brand's better at this than me, so he can get this.
Oh, pressure's on. No, Corked is a crime drama that we wrote 2 years ago, and it follows the main character, Luca, who's essentially stuck in a room with a drug dealer, or a drug lord. Now, the whole inception of the film was based around a table conversation between these two people thinking that they're not supposed to be in the same room with one another. And beyond that, the drug dealer's empire is on collapse, and there are people who are working in the organization who are basically surrounding the story and unraveling the actual reason why the drug empire is falling. And we're not going to spoil the ending, but the ending of the film essentially combines all of those storylines together, and there is calamity that ensues.
Yeah. Well, that's a
did my best.
perfect. No, that's a perfect explanation. You had like quite a few locations as well. Like, how did you guys produce most of that stuff? Like, work out the locations, reach out to like or did you have connections to those locations that would have made it easier for you to film in?
Well, good you asked that. Yeah, well, the locations were actually in my apartment building. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, the whole film was pretty much filmed in my apartment building. So it was just maybe pissing a few people off and asking for permission a little bit later, or forgiveness later. But yeah, the building manager wasn't too happy. Some of the tenants weren't too happy. So, but yeah, like, you're not making an independent film if you don't piss a few people off, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, yeah, so like a couple of the cars we had like we could use, and we had new people that knew cars, or we used our own cars. And all the other locations were public locations, and I think Melbourne does a really good job at being film friendly. Like they allow like really low impact film crews, which was like ours. We genuinely had Brandon and I and Finn, a guy who helped out on set a few times, and very few other people helping on the day. Which let us just film in public locations for free, and we didn't have permits or anything.
It was no more than 3 of us at a time. It was
Yeah.
either us two on our own. We had Finn obviously helping out some days, and then on the shoot in the actual restaurant scene, for anyone that's seen it, that was in Zach's apartment building as well, and that was the first 2 days of shooting. And so we got one videographer to come in to lend a helping hand, and basically set up the tripod and the camera gear, so that we didn't have to worry about that, and we could direct the extras. But
Yeah.
beyond that, there was no more than 3 people, except for obviously the actors.
Yeah,
then
Melbourne
we
is
got-
really good like that. They're really like.
Yeah, for sure.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, like, that restaurant scene was like just pretty much an open room, and like we went downstairs to a restaurant and we said, can we borrow your tables for a couple of hours for 2 days? And they luckily said yes. So all those tables weren't even ours. The only thing that was ours probably was all the flowers. Brent's mum and a few other people helped set the actual setting, and we didn't because we didn't have any production designers. It was mainly just us and a few others putting some ideas together.
Yeah. Like, how do you go about directing a film when you've never done that before? What is your method? And like, are you more of an actor's director or more of like a kind of like technical director?
I don't know if we know yet,
Yeah, I think we're still figuring that out.
because on Corked we were doing so many things at once that we were directing, a lot, and I think that it was more about just getting the shots
Yeah.
at any given time than it was about getting into anything technical. So for scenes that were easy to direct, like from a technical level, like when we just had a tripod, the lights were set, we had 2 people, especially across from the table. It was just acting direction the whole time. It was like we had 7 hours in that room. Can you guys get this scene right? So we learned a lot about how to direct actors, and we're taking a lot of the stuff that we learned from Corked into the next film.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of us know exactly how we're going to direct on a big set. I think we're still working that out.
Yeah.
And I think Zach and I are starting to find our grooves as well as individuals, because when you're co-directing, you can't do the same thing at all times. But we are starting to now understand where our strengths lie. And we're looking forward to getting on a big set and, directing a huge crew, because I think that we're sort of ready for that step.
Yeah, it's one of the best feelings as well. Like, I remember once we finished directing, like, we did maybe it was about 10 to 12 days overall. And some of them were, until 4 in the morning, and like we're driving vans home at like 5 in the morning, then getting up the next day and going again. And we did them in a row for some of them. And then we had some reshoots later on because we weren't happy with some of the edit, because we edited pretty much straight away once it was filmed. But yeah, like we loved it so much, and we just, I remember sitting with Brand, we were just like, look, we're doing it again. So we just started our feature film, and yeah, I think personally I really love working with actors, and we're working with them at the moment for our next film. That's definitely a passion of mine, and something I really enjoy, trying to help bring the performance out, and then Also on the day, Brent and I are trying to, make sure we like the shots and those kind of things. But yeah,
Yeah.
Absolute adrenaline dump as well after the set, after we finished. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah.
we're just living for those 10 days.
So with the next film, like what I guess is different about this film, this new film, and is it following the same genre, or are you going in a complete different direction with this new film? And if you want,
Yeah.
give the title and things like that. That's up to you.
Cool.
I mean, if we're going to give you a number, it's 180. It's just like completely
Yeah.
different
Total
film.
180.
And even from like a structural side of things, I think that the last film we made was very plot driven. So everything that was happening was the audience's entertainment essentially. You're
Yeah.
just following along and trying to work out what's going on, and every character's got competing priorities, and you don't even really get a chance to fully understand the character. And that was intentional. I think we really wanted the story to seem interesting and for people to be able to, pick apart the Easter eggs and see, what's going to happen next. They're on the edge of their seat kind of film. This film that we're doing is a lot more personal. It's obviously character driven. So it's based around one or two characters at any given time. And you really get to, under their skin, under their psyche. And I think that this film people are going to connect on a more of emotional level with.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we've always wanted to do. I think we tried to add a bit of drama in the last film, but in a short, it's really tough. And I don't think that was the right genre. But because this one is a drama romance, you're following an individual with a deep amount of trauma. And especially in the last act of the film, where the main character is going through a lot and having to come out of it, there's, I think, a lot of like hope that comes out of it. And we want people to come out of it like feeling really, really sore in the heart. They're like, this is a really, really heart-wrenching film, but God, like I've come out really hopeful. And so I think our job as directors, and I'm looking forward to when it's finished, but we want people to come out of it and be, changed emotionally for the better. I think that's our goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how long, I guess, are you planning on making the runtime? Like, is it a normal standard feature runtime or like a little bit shorter than a feature?
Oh, well, it's, when you asked, so we did a 40-minute short. So we're thinking anywhere between hour and a half to 2 hours. It'll be around that mark.
Yeah,
The way-
wow.
So yeah, we're not going to do anything half measures. I think it's going to be sink or swim for us. But yeah, we've been working on it since I think September, maybe last year.
August,
September last year. We're on our fourth draft at the moment, which is mainly dialogue and just tightening up a few things. But yeah, now something different you asked is like most of the team's different. We've got like a producer, assistant director, composer for doing an original score. We've got a astrophysicist doing like script consultant and helping with the physics elements of the film. We have a few actors already.
We have a big team.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys are just going all in.
Cinematographer now, actually. So we have a cinematographer and a lighting crew. So we didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
We had a few people that helped us, and shout out to Finn. Thank you for helping us.
Yeah.
We haven't shouted him out enough, but yeah, definitely so much is different. And by no means do we know, absolutely everything that's going to happen, but we're definitely planning and we're working every day on it to try and make it as good as possible. So.
And how long, like, I guess, do you plan on doing your shoot days for? Because obviously, like, it's just important for, I guess, listeners to know, or even new creators, because some people get so also, like, overwhelmed with, like, how many days it can take to film, like, a project. Obviously, short films are different. Like, they don't take as long. So, like, a feature, how, like, many days do you, like, plan to film it for?
Well, this is an argument with our producer and first assistant, I think. But I think we're hoping for around 21 to 21-ish days, maybe 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, no. So I think, around that 20-day mark. But at the moment, I think, and if you're sort of referring to like, what's the standard and what does it take to make a feature? For us, we're big on locations. Especially with Corked, we wanted to make the film feel outerworldly. We wanted to make it feel bigger than it was. And so traditionally you can make a feature film, in 15 days or so, or 10 to 15 days if you're just shooting in one location or a couple locations. But because we like to make it harder on ourselves. We are trying our best to try and get as many locations as possible, and we want to
Yeah,
make the
wow.
film feel like, you know, a Hollywood level, feature. So for that to happen, we're going to be working with some smaller crews on some locations and some bigger crews on others, and the shoot days will vary based on how long they'll
Yeah.
let us film. So, the question is great, but we're right in the thick of it right now,
Yeah,
and
you're
so
just like
so
not sure. No, but
there's
it's
so
a,
many contingencies,
it's
and we're hoping.
it's
But
really
also,
inspiring though, like because it's you guys have not been in the industry, so it's important. And I haven't had someone like you guys on the podcast before that have just not randomly, but like just put themselves in the industry with like not much experience, but you're doing short films and like projects that feel bigger than just like a low budget short film, and you're able to do it like just by kind of backing yourselves and realizing that you know where you want to go, because it seems like with both projects that you're doing now, you have a vision, you know where you want to go, and it feels like you've thought about this for like a while.
yeah. Well, our sort of goal when we made Corked, obviously you never know where you're going to end up, but our goal was to at least have it somewhere. And it's not by saying having it on YouTube doesn't mean anything, but I mean, for us, we sort of wanted to put it up on a shelf somewhere and that we could look at it. I don't know, is that the
Yeah.
same? We didn't want to leave it
Look,
on the shelf.
I think the shelf was the place we didn't want
we
it.
didn't want it on the
Yeah,
shelf.
yeah.
Unless there was a physical media copy, it wouldn't be that bad of an
A
idea.
nice shelf.
It's like a
Yeah,
really,
yeah. We
like-
don't want it to leave it
But
on
like
the
it's not like a
shelf.
really tall shelf. Like you
No.
can reach it. It's right
Yeah.
there. We want it visible.
Yeah, we're definitely, and it can annoy a few people because we definitely demand that we're at least pushing ourselves to try and make everything as good as possible. And at least for locations, I mean, you can understand a university film trying to film at a prestigious Ivy League looking university, like that location's really rare and hard to get.
Yeah.
And the amount of conversations we've had with different schools, campuses, and then trying to find interiors and exteriors that can match, because it seems like the way it's panning out is that we're going to have a few different locations that we're going to have to merge into one film.
Yeah.
And some exteriors and interiors are going to be different, but that's also a very exciting challenge. Like I'm really excited especially to work with Danae. Danae, our set designer. That's the production designer.
Yeah, set designers
we're
can do so much.
Very
like,
important. We're excited to work with her and see what she can come up with too.
For sure.
And I mean, what's your hope for the feature film? Like you got Corked on like Apple TV and things like that. What's the hope for the release when the feature film comes out? Like, do you plan on going around to like film festival circuits and doing that kind of thing? And do you often plan it really far ahead, or do you wait until it's filmed and then see what it turns out to be to go to like the film festivals?
I think it's you take it one step at a time. So I think for us, even like distribution and where do we want this film to be, it's all like contingent on one thing after the next. So we're still in the funding phase, we're still in the script writing phase. We want this to be the best film we can possibly make, and I think we'll have a very good idea in the next 6 months once we've actually filmed it as to what kind of film we're looking at here. But
Yeah.
Zach and I, we're at the stage in our lives where we don't do things half-assed. So we're not going for, just in a local level festival. We're going for like the absolute biggest we can get. And, we've got this mentality as well. Like, we're shooting for the moon, but we're like landing on the stars. I don't know if that's the thing, but like the goal is to
It's the other way around.
shoot for the stars, land on the moon. I
Yeah,
don't know.
something, one of those.
Either way, we're okay with falling short, like totally fine. But if we're not even trying to do something that's really ambitious, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I think it is important to put yourself out there as well in this industry. Like, regardless what anyone else thinks, like what matters is what you think and like what you're putting forward. And I mean, that's the thing with Australia. There are a lot of people will like shut you down for doing something and like really big if they don't relate to it or understand it. But as long as you kind of stick to like what you want to do and like your level and how you want to have your projects come out, I think that's the most important thing, because people are going to appreciate good art, regardless if they find it the best film, they're still going to appreciate like what you've been able to do.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, like as Brent said, I think we want to like try and why am I doing so many analogies today? We're trying to like turn over every stone. And then yeah, if we fall short, we fall short. But at least we tried. And I don't know, I have this like I've always had this this fear in like my head. I don't know if this resonates at all. But I always thought about, and we'll talk about Greek here because I don't speak that great Greek language, but I don't
Or
speak
English.
English. Yeah. English, but yeah, I don't speak Greek that well, and I've always tried to like pick it up and you know, Duolingo and whatever other schools you go to. But
Yeah.
I always have this like annoying feeling when I start. I always stop doing it, and then like 2 years later, I'm always thinking if I did that every week for 2 years, like where would we be now?
Yeah.
And I've always had that fear with a lot of different things that I pick up and maybe don't stick at. But especially with this, one of my fears would be that, you know, we just sort of go through the motions and then you get to the point in December when we film. And then once it's finished, it's kind of like why didn't we just put it all in? Like, because we were going to get to the shooting date anyway. So like, why didn't we put everything out there and really try and make it amazing? So I think that's kind of the mantra we're pushing by.
Yeah, we don't want to live with that regrets.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah. And honestly, we're all still so young as well. Like, we have time. There's people that come into the industry at like 50, 60 years old and they like, and they make it. Like, they do some crazy stuff. So it's like we all hear these stories of like people making it later in life. And I think that's the stuff that you should really listen to and take it under your wing, because I feel like at our age we always feel like we have to rush, and I think that's where we fall short. Like, so many of my projects I feel like I have to rush, and then I'm like, but I don't have to. Like, I can make it the best that it needs to be, and if it's going to take a little bit of time, it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. I feel like you know, for Zach and I, like especially, you know, at our point in our lives, you know, we know we've got a massive road ahead. And while this like sort of passion that we have continues to burn on, I think that it's like we almost want to like do its due diligence. Like we want to feel like, you know, if we're going to make this film, we're going to make it with the intention that it's going to take us to the next film and that we're constantly like leveling up.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we feel like, you know, we're stagnating and that passion's going and, you know, we're not getting the best out of ourselves, that's when we'll know that it's not for us. But
Yeah.
I think that the reason why, you know, we're so driven and the reason why we're trying to do things like the way we are is that we genuinely just love it. And it's just like genuinely like it's not a chore. It's just what we need to do.
But there also are like, let's not sugarcoat it. There are a lot of like tough things in film that you have to get done. Like there's a lot of admin, there's a lot of things.
Oh, 100%.
But like it's like the pool of like wanting to make the film is way bigger. It's like this saying we heard the other day, but like the pool of like wanting to do it is it gets you along when you like feel like you're always pushing. Like, but if you always feel like you're pushing and there's nothing